Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Great to see you again. It's your third Rethink Places podcast. So 3 weeks of podcasting. And this week, we're still talking about rethinking collaboration. Last week, we talked about a project that you were shaping up with a company, an organisation called Participation People. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. And that tied into Magna Housing's Better Future strategy as well, in terms of engaging with your customers in a different way, especially younger customers. So looking forward to touching base on that one. But before we do, because I know things are moving at a fast rate, what have you learned over the past week since we last spoke? What's happening?
Yeah, it's good progress. Great. Probably the highlights of my week, all the things that happen around Rethink Places, and I think it is genuinely because it is forcing me to rethink how you do collaboration. So I've had some really positive conversations over the past week where I know there's pieces of work developing in Andrew's Charitable Trust, which is the charity that I chair. And they have been part of this community, and they're now really giving thought to a piece of work that's happening anyway, but also just how that can be shared more broadly and nurtured in a safe space, which is the community. So I think it's really great to hear that it's becoming a place where people feel like they'll get benefit from talking to others, sharing with others and getting input without feeling like they need to have everything done. So that's really positive. There's been a great podcast shared on the platform this week, sparking a conversation around intergenerational spaces, which is brilliant. And that's been shared by Amplify Us, an organisation that have also joined the community. And what I really, really love about what they do is it's about bringing the voices of young people into policy making, decision making. And I think they do it in a really, really great way. So that's a really good podcast and food for thought. So it's stirring up curiosity, new perspectives that I probably wouldn't have seen before or wouldn't have known where to get them from. And so really good week.
Brilliant. So that's a big game changer. So that, I guess, to just bring this back down to the focus, because we're always bringing this back to what is this online community enabling that you wouldn't perhaps had doing things in a traditional way. So for Andrew's Charitable Trust, has the community given them access to different people that has compelled them to share what they're doing?
It's definitely done that. But interestingly, even the work that they are doing, which may or may not have happened as a result of the community, the fact that where they are doing the work and they can see benefit in bringing it into the community to gain extra perspective and different views, I think is great, because the work may well have always happened, but the fact that it is an opportunity to bring in other voices, perspectives, and the space we definitely are trying to keep as a space that is about positively building on ideas. The fact that they're considering it as a place where that could happen, I think is really positive and different than maybe what would have happened before, which is we all go away and create pieces of great work. We may talk to a lot of people to do it, but do we actually have a safe, wider sounding board to build on it? So I think that's perhaps the step change that I'm seeing.
That'll be really interesting to see how that unfolds and what differences, if any, that you notice as a community on the back of that. And you're blending this online community, but you're also creating those interpersonal relationships face to face through new community membership that you may not have done before. And you've had a busy week. You've met up with Participation this week. What's come out of that meeting?
So I think I started to talk about this last week. So this is us thinking about youth engagement now with my Magna hat on and thinking about our Better Future strategy and how we hear more and shape the work that we're doing at Magna through the voice of our younger customers. And one of the capabilities, I guess, that we need to develop is how to do that. And so we had a great meeting with Temi at Participation People, and it was really just to kick the project off. And even in that conversation, I was observing, I guess, a need to do it in the way that we do it. and this is coming from me, by the way. And I was also wishing, we're going to go out and engage these young people. I said, shall I start to look at venues where we can arrange meetups? And Hemi sort of stopped me in my tracks and said, well, we need to ask the young people where they're going to want to meet up. And we don't know where they are yet. And we need to find spaces that are going to work for them. And it was really interesting because in my head, I'd already thought about hotels, meeting rooms. And then I thought, actually, that may be completely the wrong place for this type of work to happen. So it was a good catch in terms of how we just do things without rethinking them and applying those models that we've always done, even to venue bookings and locations where these conversations can happen. So participation people have been really good in that front, and they've also are going to help us to actually think about the communication that we first send out to our young customers, to frame it in a way that actually they're going to be interested. And so I'm fascinated to see what comes back from that, because I've realised, had we not worked with a group that are expert in this area, I could see that we would have designed it in the way that we thought best, and then possibly wondered why young people didn't come or didn't want to join in. So I'm thinking that to be able to get that expertise and that experience is just brilliant.
That's a really honest reflection, actually, and a really honest share, because I think a lot of people will probably relate to that, but whether they'd admit it or not, I'm not quite sure. And it's hard to do, isn't it, when you're a business, because you're thinking about budgets, you want to do things on a specific time scale, but it comes back to that old adage of putting your customers first, listening to your customers, whatever the customer group. It's no different, is it? And that's from start to finish of any project. So I suppose it's a good reminder of keep that and centre.
I did laugh when we said that we're really looking forward to doing this workshop. Oh, you're in for a ride kind of thing. We are going to learn, and I think that's why I'm sharing it, really, because I'm sure those that work in the field of youth engagement know all of this stuff and are probably thinking, why are you not learning from others that do this really well and understand how to do it? So we're probably quite naively going into this at the moment in a good way, but really open to the learning that we're going to gain.
Fantastic. And what else are you seeing? What other engagements are you seeing? Any sort of green shoots of any other different relationships forming in the community? Because through your analytics and through the conversations and the interactions, you can see who's starting to connect with who. Are you starting to see sort of a network form or anything like that?
It's definitely early days, but definitely seeing conversations happening between those on the community meeting there, but also then arranging to catch up separately on pieces of work that are relevant to them, which I think's a really good outcome.
So it's still early days, and you're sharing the progress now in these weekly podcasts, and you've got analytics that you can co-share with the community around what's happening. Are you seeing green shoots of ecosystems falling, and how are people engaging with you differently?
Yeah, definitely seeing some changes. So it's very interesting to look at the LinkedIn analytics, even from posting onto doing these podcasts, and seeing connections either actually from the past, and also opening my eyes up to other people that are working in this kind of field, whether it be around young people, actually whether it just be about collaboration as a topic in itself, regardless of collaboration on what. So that's been really good. And definitely there are some offline conversations starting to happen with those that are on the community that have found some sort of shared purpose and developing ideas together, not necessarily on the community, but then they'll more than likely bring it back. So it is early days still, but I definitely feel a sense of, only really probably in the last couple of weeks, the ethos of what the community is about, which is essentially about trust. You don't get collaboration until you've got people that trust each other and know each other, and we're starting to see some of that now.